of the classics, also known as Rick, and I got a special guest, Emma. Thank you for being a part of this dialogue.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Are you on? You say are you on my Twitch channel? Do you want to type in your Twitch or anything like that?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
plug yourself. Go,
Sure.
please promote all you want because I like your content. So
Thank you.
because you do
Oh,
streaming too, right? You're like
I
you should.
do. I just do gaming on Twitch. I like chat a little bit while I game, but it's like pure just chill, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm a little more risky, which is probably why I'm probably shadow banned.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll
I do war crimes on Twitch.
war crimes on D
That's
Krieg. Thank you for showing.
it's a video game joke,
uh,
not in real life, just in video games. I
I
promise.
imagine you didn't strike me as somebody that would like drone strike civilians. You know, like just
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
saying, guys. Like Emma doesn't strike me as the drone people. You know, or like merc people with sniper rifles. You know. Okay, so
I do.
all right, so look, Emma's awesome, which is why I wanted her to be a guest. And look, I know I'm going to talk about something totally different. Some of you guys might come on here, might have seen me. Well, the people that come here to see some of my political takes, you guys have seen me talk about American politics and whatnot. But I wanted to talk about dating. I wanted to talk about the red pill community because some of these guys they think they know everything. At least that's kind of how they come across. These they it's kind of arrogant. Like, and first of all, there has to be pushback. This is coming from my perspective, my take as a regular dude in America. And first off, I just want to say, Emma, thank you for pushing back on these guys. That's one of the first things on because you push back really well. Can you maybe just to start off the discussion, can you maybe go through like what you think is like problematic, like some of the issues with these guys that say that they're like know-it-alls about women?
So many things. I get criticized for this point by this kind of part of the manosphere, but a lot of it I think does stem from like disappointment or bad personal experiences, and then they kind of transpose that onto an entire gender. And it's not it's women do that too, but it's this really vocal kind of group that does it, and I think so much of it has crossed over into like right-wing politics that it's becoming more dangerous. I think when we talked about it before, you kind of touched on how the political side of it sort of
Yeah.
makes it almost more
Yeah,
of a
so
concern.
so like for example, like Jesse Lee Peterson tries to equate being a lefty with being effeminate. He does this like almost,
Yeah,
and so since he hates people on the left, his whole thing is like, "Oh, if you vote for Biden, you must be a woman. You must be a beta male." So then he incorporates these like red pill. And by the way,
yeah.
which is completely absurd. By the way, but I actually something I wanted to bring up, and this is something that maybe you could touch upon too, is like a lot of these guys always make this assumption that men automatically always think logically and rational, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're always the level-headed people. Everything they say is just they're just all Aristotle, right? They're so
Yeah.
these guys are like the big heavyweights, and women they're the emotional type. So but I have a certain statistic about this, but before I discuss that, can you tell us how these logical men responded, like when you were dating and stuff? Because all these guys claim
Mm.
men are so logical. Just you can make fun of anybody, put any of these clowns on the spot, because I think it's funny. Tell us how because you didn't respond to them or whatever in 10 seconds, what they told you. Can you break it down?
Yeah. So a lot of it is the kind of stereotypes. So there was one I remember when if I didn't reply to somebody within like 10 minutes, and he was like, "Women are shallow. Like, I don't like shallow women." A lot of what it is almost I kind of think it's a bit of a defensive tactic. It's like I'm gonna ruin this before you can say no to me. You know, it's like I'm gonna take myself out before you can embarrass me.
And
But
these,
like
yeah, go ahead.
it's just it's kind of funny and embarrassing But like, I think part of it, not to be like immediately serious, but I think part of it is almost sort of thought stopping techniques. Because when you look at somebody like Rollo Tomassi, the rational male, so he's self proclaimed in his title that he is a rational, logical man, women are the emotional ones. Um, the way he talks about women, and I've seen him when I've watched his videos or his streams, and he's talking about me. He usually self-confessed this, puts me in the like title and thumbnail as like clickbait, and talks about like 2 minutes of my video, and then moves on to talk about other stuff for like 2 hours. So
He
that's fun.
actually responded to you directly.
Yeah, he's done a
Hey,
couple of videos on me.
that means if you're forced to respond to something, it means you got under their skin. By the way, shout out to you for that.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. But he does this thing, and I noticed it. Like I say, he didn't talk about me for very long, so I watched a bit more when he was talking about this other woman who had gone on. Maybe it was the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Oh, Fresh and Fit, yeah.
One of these types of thing. If it wasn't that one, it's a very similar one.
Right.
And he basically does this thing where he can turn anything into a woman says into just emotional. Like she'll say a sentence and he'll be like, you see, so because of this she was talking from her emotions, and therefore we can invalidate all of it and we don't have to listen. And it's amazing. He can apply that to anything, and it just means it gives the people that follow him this excuse to never ever listen to or trust women, because you're just talking from your emotions. Like
Yeah.
I get pulled up on saying things like I feel. I got they say so many contradictions. It's like we could sit here and list the contradictions and we'd be here for hours.
Hey,
But
that's
like,
why I'm here. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of
Yeah.
it. I'm here for all of it. So, oh shoot, I got a little distracted.
it's just it's crazy.
Okay,
And, like,
so
they'll
here's
they'll
something.
just go around in circles
So
forever.
here's something also about dismissing, because actually now that you brought it up, I'm gonna bring this up. So,
Mm-hmm.
and by the way, Jesse Lee Peterson, and I'm glad you took down. You kind of showed how absurd him and his crew were when they were saying like,
He's the worst.
it was like it's a mistake to give women the right to vote and like, and read, and they shouldn't have jobs and this stuff. And so here's the thing, for all these guys saying that women are emotional or whatever. So I looked at the medical field in the United States. By the way, this is bears true for almost every. If you look at how like hospitals and stuff are run in various countries, well, it turns out that like 75% of the people working in these fields are women. You know,
Right.
so now, by the way, to become a nurse or a doctor or anybody in this professional field, like you can't just be an idiot. It's not like these women became doctors by being quote unquote pretty and emotional or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They took tests, they did research, they're professionals, and if these women are actually keeping people alive. So my question to these guys that are saying like women can't be trusted and blah blah blah, like what are they gonna do? Are they gonna tell like 80%, close to 80% of the women in these fields to like stop saving lives? And it's like these women are way smarter than these guys. Like they may not be willing to admit, but it's like in the real world, like outside of their quote unquote theories, like of course there are women that are reasonable and logical and probably above, and could it be argued that maybe some of them may not be totally happy right now, maybe, but at the end of the day, hey, they're getting the job done. But anyways, any thoughts on
Yeah.
that? Or
I think you're so right. And I was thinking this. I was watching somebody's like labor birth video, and I was like crying because it was so emotional. And I was thinking, it's funny how like, the majority, like you say, the majority of nurses and midwives and people like that are women, and it's such it's a job that would make so many people emotional. You have to really like work to control and overcome that emotional response. So that sort of flies in the face of this emotional versus rational argument.
yeah, exactly. So and here's the thing. Okay, then this moving on to our next thing. Actually, no, wait. One more thing, because yeah, I'm gonna be hard on guys, I'm sure they're not gonna be upset because they understand that according to them, it's okay for guys to be critical and like tough, the tough love. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be on the women's side, because women, generally speaking, they are a little bit more polite about it. But okay, so, and a lot of the women that are on like Fresh and Fit, they're generally women that are just out there trying to have fun. They're not necessarily like qualified to make these arguments, which they don't need to. But I can see that some of these guys, they select them on purpose to not be able to really fight back. But I'm gonna say this, okay? Since 1982, we look at the United States. There's been a lot of mass shootings, okay? 119 of those were men, that these logical, rational thinking men that were shooting people up. You know how many were women? Take a guess.
How many?
3.
Huh.
So who's emotional? This is just the thing. Is like, they always say this thing like, we base things on reality and facts. Well, if women aren't going crazy, generally speaking, like because of whatever, shooting people up, maybe, just maybe, guys, there's some things about female nature that maybe we can embrace, if it means not shooting people up, and it's not to say like, I'm not making the argument now that, because some of these guys are gonna straw man, I'm sure, as they always do. They're probably gonna be like, what are you saying, we should become transgender? I don't know what kind of dumb thing, I don't know what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
But I'm just making the point that like, maybe we got to rethink like these absolutisms about if that's the right thing. Anyways,
Totally
any thoughts
right.
on that? Or
Well, like you said earlier, when we were just talking about, silly messages and things, when I was, I used to be active. It got like doxy, and people were actually like threatening my job and my partner, so I had to stop commenting on, the sort of anti-incel forums online. But when I used to engage with them on those forums, those conversations I had were just the most irrational and erratic that I've ever had. and all under the guise of I'm just logical. The amount of conversations I had where I'd say, no, this thing about me or my partner or whatever isn't true. And they'd just be like, you're lying, or women are lying. I don't believe, like, really, like, I blame the cult that they're in for that, rather than them. To be so erratic under this, like, we're the logical, smart, sensible people, calm, rational people, and women are emotional, It's so far from the reality.
Oh my god. Okay, so there's something I wanted to bring up, but I'm sure it'll come up. We're going just like kind of freelance here, but okay, so you're a gamer, okay? And this is something I wanted